here we are. We are live, and we have a really special guest today. And I have to tell you, I don't know him super well because in the AJC, there's so many people to get to know, and we're still getting to know each other. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself, and you can tell people who you are, what you do, and then we'll open up what we're talking about today.
James, thank you so much for, first of all, for creating this space and allowing me to be part of it. And so let me introduce myself. My name is Igor Furdik. I'm coming from the heart of Europe, Central Europe, it's Slovakia. And I'm incredibly proud of my country. It's a beautiful country, relatively small. For people coming from America, we're smaller than any of one of your states. Basically, you just go in one direction for an hour and you're outside, which makes it more cozy, and people are incredible here. So I'm proud Slovak as well. In case you're coming around Slovakia, reach out to me. You see my name. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm really proud of my country and showing what it has to offer. And with regards to the topic of our today's call, I have been doing consultancy work professionally for a long time as part of Accenture, as part of interim CEOs, and I'm basically a board member of. I'm not basically. I'm board member of a consultancy company in Slovakia, and how we met each other is part of AJC, Ankush Jain Coaching Career School. And my journey in coaching started in 2015 when I reconvened with Ankush, who is a friend of mine, dear friend of mine. And I've been basically walking the path of exploration of new horizons, internal and spiritual, for last 10 years. I attended every single one of immersions, Powerful Men's immersions that Ankush is creating since 2015, but one. The first one I skipped. I was not. I didn't even know about that. But ever since, I was basically hooked in the most positive way. And every single immersion was like a incredible breakthrough, and it was like 21 immersions, and for the last 6 I'm part of the faculty, helping Ankush run those and help other men to recreate their lives. That's how I got into this beautiful space. And last year I started with AJC cohort 2024, and my foray into professional coaching, because before 2024 my coaching income was like 3,000 euros over the last 3 years, which was, I was doing it because I loved it. And it shifted in 2024 when in the last 12 months I made, I think, around 25,000 euros, which was a huge thing. And how I did it is I help people create their new conscious documents. And in case your audience does not know what that is, we can go deeper into that. But basically, I approach a person and I am a guide in them defining and creating conscious journey of their lives. My life always looks exactly like I want it. And I guarantee, well, there are areas in every person's life where the life goes like that. I guarantee you that in that particular area of your life, the stories that you know to be true about yourself are very flattering and very empowering. You can do that, James. You are an excellent public speaker. You are a successful podcast host, and so on and so forth. And there are areas of our lives, that's part of the human experience, where it feels like it's like, quicksand or a swamp. And again, I guarantee you that the stories that I or you believe about yourself in that particular area of your life are not that flattering. It will never work out, or I'm not worthy of whatever, or money does not grow on trees. The point of the work that I am currently doing is to lovingly, lovingly explore all the stories that I hold true about myself, seeing the love in every single one of those, even and especially in those that are in the realm of I'm not worthy or whatever, and seeing the love in them and flipping them, because our life is not an accident, it's a consequence of our being, of who we are being. And there is a life hack. The language that I use to describe the reality, it actually creates, and it creates a positive or a negative feedback loop. It's like self-fulfilling prophecy. And so this is basically what I help my clients do, and this has shifted for me in 2024 in during the AJC.
Wow. This is so powerful, and thank you for really being, clear, right, on the way and the power of this work that you're doing with people. And it's yeah, it's really mind blowing, and I know that like I opened up, right? We're still getting to know each other, but anyone listening, even from what they just heard, what I want the listener to know is that this is the energy that Igor brings, even though we did not spend a lot of time together during the AJC. I just notice the way you walk into a room, the way that you connect. I see how people connect with you, your being, the way that you hold yourself, and the work that you have put in, right? Just from what you've described, going to the powerful men's immersions, the AJC, and the way that you have created yourself to be and to witness that. And so it's been wonderful to get to know you, to get to witness. Even though I'm only seeing this portion now of your journey, it's still wonderful. And right, this is exactly why we're here, because in the AJC, part of what I'm doing is I'm speaking to so many amazing coaches like yourself about what have you found for yourself that works to generate conversations, to create clients. And so I think what you've just shared, right, is um, as you've moved into this professional coaching, and you probably even recognize it with the different consultancy work that you've done, as someone's listening to this, and they might have their modality that they use, or they might have their sense of power, or their sense of power or tool that they use. And so you do this conscious creation of a document, and we're hearing that, we're hearing the power of that. It's resonating. Where do you find that these conversations occur for you, or the opportunities open up where you're even able to bring this to somebody or mention it for their own awareness? Um, yeah.
For me, it was and still is part of my journey. For the longest part of my life, I was just expecting the universe to recognize me for who I am and just bring me on the golden platter the clients and people who want to listen to me, and because yes, people do resonate with who I am being, and I was expecting this to be a sort of a natural thing. Funny story. In 2015, I was on the first immersion. In 2017, in mid of year, Ankush told me, Igor, you could run these on your own. And for longest time, he was telling people, if God forbid something happened to him, I was the only person with whom he would be feeling comfortable just handing the immersion to. So there were signals from the universe that were, Igor, you have it, you know. And yet nothing was changing. I did in 2018. I was introduced to the Prosperous Coach. There was a brilliant training in London that was run by Ankush and Steve Chandler. I was absorbing it like during the event. I was absorbing it like mad, you know, like a thirsty person on a Sahara desert would be devouring water. The thing was that I was absorbing information and I was not doing anything with it. And that was a program or a pattern that I was following through for a long time, you know. It was the next book that will give me the magic formula, you know, abracadabra, and everything will change. And nothing has changed. One of the reasons was I was waiting for the universe to make first move. And eventually I came to understand that that's not how the universe works. In case I'm drawn to creating in the universe, in the outside world, I have to be sharing. That was my experience. And the breakthrough was when I actually took the book of Prosperous Coach, which I first was introduced in 2018, and started doing. I read and I listened to the audiobook. By the way, it's a brilliant book for any beginner coach. It's quite concise, very precise, and every time I listened to it, I was like, yeah, now. And it helped me to start speaking about coaching. Start listening for areas where I can help people. And being open to vulnerable things, just offering help. Because if I truly see an area where I can help, genuinely help a person in front of me, and I hold it for myself because I am not worthy, it's the most arrogant thing to do. What if the gift of helping the person, where I obviously see I could serve the person, who am I to basically deny that person of at least creating a possibility for that? Does it mean that people will immediately start showering me with money and recommendations? No, and that's not the point. For me, what is most important is really to serve the person. And when I started doing that, I was serving people. I started speaking about, yes, I am a coach. By the way, first time I said that, I was like, it felt uncomfortable. And this is something that I love about AJC. But that's, I'm gonna go to that. So the first step was I started sharing who am I and what I do. And there were incredible shifts, and there were clients. And monetarily, it was not a big thing. As I said, it was 3,000 euros for 3 years. It was just a side gig. There was another point, and for me, it was for longest time a almost a token of shame. And the important part was that I kept on the path. I was walking the journey. And believe me, there were judgments in my head, as there were judgments in other people's, actually even verbalized. Are you slow, Igor? 10 years of self-development? What's wrong with you? And the the funny thing was, every time I went to my coach, because part of that package was not just the immersion, which is basically a retreat type of experience, but there is a coaching included. But every time I was working with Ankush as my coach, and every time I went to the retreat, there was a deeper knowing. Almost imperceptibly, what happened is I got landed better and better jobs. Eventually, I was offered a stake in a company and I became a board member of it. And it was, for me, it was almost imperceptible. The point was I was really walking the path, learning and doing the steps. And that allowed me to explore the reality of serving people from so many different ways because I was served. Ankush always told me, he was quoting Steve Chandler, the thing that is hardest for us to learn makes us the best at teaching that thing. Because really, in our own skin, we test all the things where we just explore the topic. So step number one, I kept on the path despite all the whatever stories that I was spinning, and or even my father, he was cute, he was again, really. But I did keep on the path. So that was point number one. Point number two, with every step I took on the journey, I got a deeper understanding. And one of the milestones on this journey was, on my journey, I did explore multiple approaches to self-growth, spiritual, psychological, leadership, skill-wise, hard skills, soft skills. One of the milestones was created in 2022 when Ankush started working with Steve Hardison, and he created Ankush created his conscious document with Steve. And this has never been done before, but Steve allowed, or he basically approved Ankush creating document with every single participant at the immersion. So in November 2022, I created the first draft of my conscious document. And guess what? It was not walk in the in the park. For the first half year, I was going through the reps, and the shifts were quite small. And in 2023, something huge happened, and I started truly living my document. When I say living my document is a declaration of who I am, and it's not a milestone, like a finish line. I am my document when when this happens. It's really like a journey. For instance, when I say I am the universe and this is the best and most beautiful day of my life, that's a statement of who I am. And it's not a state where I will be able to say, ah, now, nailed it, nothing to be done. No, every single day I can be that. So in 2023, I really started living my document, exploring every single statement, and deepening my understanding of the deep transformational work of the document. And I was doing it on my own, with help of Ankush, but basically just going deep, living my document. And again, because it was not a walk in park for me, I really explored different areas. Basically, the document is, as I said, a declaration of who I am. And now that I look on my life, I can truly say that this is the most efficient way of transforming one's life, because it's a process that is self-correcting and utilizing all of the features of this beautiful organism, being human organism, the psychology, the neurology, the conscious creation through language. It's really self-correcting mechanism. It's like if you have a funnel and you drop a ball, it doesn't matter in which direction the ball spins, it always ends up there. This is my experience of document creation, and it's truly self-correcting. So that was another milestone. And again, me walking through that, I helped a couple of brothers at the Powerful Men's Immersion, just from a place of my experience. So this is what I experienced, this is how I approached it. I helped a couple of people at the Powerful Men's Immersion with their documents, and Ankush noticed that, and he mentioned it to a couple of people, and then just basically the word of mouth started. And what has happened for me is, because I walked the path, I created multiple stories for myself that I can now share with you. When I speak about the document, you know that I'm speaking truth, not because of my rhetorical skills, but because I know it is true.
Hmm.
It is simply so. But
Yes.
coming back to the conversations, I'm not the one who can tell you, yeah, you go to the person A, you tell them this, and this. Then you go to the person B, you say that, and that, and this creates leads, or this creates clients. No, what I can do, however, is I can assure you, because it took me 10 years. I can assure you, in case you walk the path, you have your own coach, you work on yourself, not because you're broken, but because you see the potential. This is incredibly important distinction. I'm never fixing people. I'm helping them learning to water the areas of their lives where they want to see growth. So if you just keep walking and you share whatever you know, eventually there will be enough seeds that they will start growing.
Wow. This is I love this, and I love the journey that you shared, because I think it's so important for people to get. And I want to unpack a few things, or at least key insights that I think are coming through, that I'm just going to relay to anyone listening, to kind of recap, and what I'm getting out of you sharing your journey. So, one of the first steps, it sounds like, is to um, stop simply relying on insights and information. Or I don't know if I've said this before in one of these episodes, but I once had a coach that he taught something, and someone said, "Wow, this is really useful." And he said, "Well, it's only useful if you use it." And I know, right? It's like it's so simple but so true that there can be this information, there can be these insights, and well, that's beneficial. It's about what we do with it, right? Applying it and staying the path like you're talking about. And I'm also hearing that people have gifts. And one of the most selfish things that we can do is to keep our gifts to ourselves, or for our gifts to be hung up on, is this person going to pay me or not? But instead, to check of who are the people in our life, what are the conversations that we're having, that if we notice we can help somebody, to begin to actually open up the possibility of helping them, because otherwise they don't know, and they're just they're just walking around with a problem, right? They're going, oh well, I could help them, but they don't know it, or caught up like you're talking about in the mental chatter or thoughts that even unconsciously that may be keeping them from sharing their gift, or their being in conversation. So it sounds like being in conversation with people, people being aware that you have an ability to help them or have a possibility or a solution, and continuing to live that, to repeat that, and doing the work on oneself, because the more we develop ourselves, the more we're able to bring that and help others. Um, do I have that correct?
Yes, yes. And I want to say one thing that was shared to me by my coach. There is a distinction, the coaching ear. I can listen to the whatever is happening around me, just so what's happening? Or I can listen for challenges where I can help. You who listen and you are a coach, you know the challenges that you are best equipped to help with people. In case you're listening for occurrences of those challenges, I guarantee you will hear them. For instance, for me, what I'm listening for is where people say it's like that, the boss is bitchy or whatever. And I just open the possibility, peculiar. May I suggest something? And if they say yes, I say, sure. What if we just create whatever we speak, we create more of in the world? This is just an example. The point is really consciously just listen for opportunities where you see a space to help. So, coaching ear distinction. Do you have your coaching ear on or off? It helped me immensely.
Yeah. Well, I think I love that. I had not heard that distinction before, so I really appreciate you sharing that, because I think it really also helps, like you're talking about, of, is someone opening up the conversation? Because sometimes, and I've experienced this, where people may be talking about, sometimes we're in a group of people, and maybe someone's complaining or they're talking about something, and sometimes we might just designate of, oh, that's our friend, or that's our family, or that's just coworkers catching up, and uh, the way they know to connect is to complain, but I don't do that, I'm just going to stay in my own lane, when really there's lots of opportunity there to, like you said, when you have that coaching ear, to introduce another possibility. Maybe it's there with them, or maybe it's afterwards individually. Um, yeah. Could you share more about this coaching ear, and just perhaps what
It
you've...
is it is very, and as you were saying, there is additional. layer that uncovered for me, and it connected me to what you said. Basically, by helping ourselves, we're helping other people around us. Coaching here is just step one. Step one is to, yes, I can open the conversation. However, there is a choice when I hear a problem or challenge, whatever. When I hear a challenge, I can come from a place, yeah, you should do this, like top five things to do when you're feeling lonely or whatever. Or you relate a story, preferably from your life or from life of your client. The and I'm gonna share something that helped me immensely. Usually, I don't know how you, but when I came across something new, I immediately saw the incredible potential for my family. My mother should do this, my father should do this, my brother should do this, my aunt, whatever, my wife, my favorite. And guess what? It never worked. Mother, you should do it like this. It's all in your head. What people, what people are, I found it on myself. When I was coming from a place I want to fix my my mom and my father, they of course immediately returned back. Yeah, you should fix your life there, here, here, and they were right. They were absolutely right. What created the traction is when I started doing the small steps for me in shifting my life. The by Sorry, I want to slow down now because I want to convey the messages. I will focus I will focus on the situation with my parents because it was very important for me. For longest time I was just getting rid of my father because he was always disrespecting me, never seeing me as enough, blah blah blah, whatever the story was. And I wanted to fix him. And then in 2023 something happened. He got stroke, and I realized that, well, I don't know how much more time do I have with my father. And I can be the son who tries to fix or to get rid of my father. Because I told him on multiple occasions, Father, if it wasn't for my mom, I would never come to this home, to this house of yours. I would not see you. It felt good. I felt righteous. I showed him. And when this happened, first of all, it was a clear signal for me to deepen my living of my document. There is a statement for me. I am a faithful son who loves my parents and supports them with anything they need. And there were times where I was not that, even when I was having my document. But that's beside the point. The point of the declaration is not to be used as a stick to beat myself up, but more as a North Star that shows me in which direction I know I can and want to walk. So as I was truly serving my parents, and at that time it was extremely difficult for my mother because she was at home alone. So I took it as a mission that every single day I'm living like 1 hour drive from Bratislava, which is the place where my parents live. I made it a point that every day I'm driving to Bratislava, drive my mother to hospital and be there with my father and then drive back. And this is what you said, the information becomes useful when I actually use it. And by me being my document, things started shifting. I was able to tell my father things that when my mother told him, you should do it like this, for instance, eat something particular, he was like, "Blah, blah, blah." When I explained this to him, he did the shift. Why? Because he saw the shift in me. The biggest gift that I saw for myself as part of my personal transformation and growth was when my beautiful, gorgeous, healthy, fit, and active wife Clara saw what I did, and she said to me, I want to have one of those, meaning documents, conscious documents, because she sees the impact and she does test me. She reminds me that I'm not by document. But the point is, when I do the shift internally, it creates curiosity. This was the path for me. Despite the fact that I'm quite extrovert and a very good speaker, I created the traction for me just by doing the shifts within me, by being kind to myself, by being forgiving to myself. Because God knows that during my years before, the most efficient way of changing me was to beat myself up. Igor, how could you do this? You did it again and you said you won't do it and blah, 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 blah. And then from some small slippage that I did, for instance, did not send an email that I was supposed to send, there was a story created where it created hell in me, in my thoughts, and instead of at least opening for the possibility of doing the thing, I was engaging in the negative self-talk, which was not productive. But it seemed like it makes sense to beat myself up. So this is one of the cornerstones of the document creation, being kind to myself, which seems unintuitive. Well, if I'm being kind to myself, even the little things that I was able to do while not being kind to myself, I will not be doing anything. And that's not how I found the life to be working. The more kind am I to myself, the easier it is for me when I walk on the path, it's absolutely perfect, and when I slip, through being kind to myself, I'm able to return easier because I spend less time of wandering around what's wrong with me and whatever, what this means about me, and I always do this. It's just, okay, so I slipped, let me return back. The self-forgiveness is an incredible cornerstone that allowed me to deepen the transformation. But coming back to the point, it's yes, having a coaching ear, and through the coaching ear, actually seeing the reflection of myself, working on myself, and people listen differently to a person who is coming to them with a glass of water and not drinking wine. You know,
Yep. Yeah. And you have me wondering, and thank you so much for sharing that personal story of yours, because I think a lot of times what happens for people is sometimes they might wait for not that they're waiting, but a lot of times the changes for them can occur during a crisis, or like you said, they might be beating themselves up. What have you found most helpful, right? Because let's say somebody is listening to this and they're doing the work on themselves, they're sharing more. That they're a coach. They're wearing the the coaching ear and or listening with the coaching ear. Let's say they find themselves, maybe they're beating themselves up, or they notice that they've fallen, gone off path. What have you found most useful to implement this idea of being kind to yourself, or forgiving yourself, if they don't have a document yet?
It's actually relatively simple. And it's in fact so simple that we sometimes unconsciously choose to make it way more difficult. I use a mnemotechnic for this. It's number 3. And it's part of the skills that we practice during the document creation. When I want to change something in me, for instance, I'm beating myself up, the only thing that enables me to do this change is when I catch myself doing that. Because what usually happens is I beat myself up and it just happens, I'm not aware of that. It's not conscious. So I said the first step is to become conscious. Catch myself doing the thing that I don't want to do. And let's speak about the beating myself up. That's step number 1. Step number 2, and this is usually the step that is missing from the conscious creation. Because what usually happens, I catch myself, let's say being tough on myself, and I start beating myself up about doing, oh my God, I did it again. I was blaming myself. What's wrong with me? I should have known better. I have been doing this for 12 years. Instead of just cutting the chase short, I'm just piling on judgment and judgment. So basically, I catch myself and I recreate myself just with more judgment. This is the self-forgiveness. This, and I will explain how this can be used. It's an invitation, and this is for me a reminder of my of the document, of the process of the document creation, which is actually a process of conscious creation of myself. And this is not a state to be attained and just done. This is a journey as well. I get to practice catching myself doing whatever, being kind to myself, seeing the innocence in it. It's not that I'm broken, I'm human. This is part of human experience. And going to the step number 3, which is a conscious creation. So, I was explaining, when I want to change something, I need to be conscious of it. Okay, I'm beating myself up. Do I want to do it? Yes, that's okay. Continue doing that. If no, I could be open to the possibility. Okay, so I was tough on myself. I was beating myself up. Yes, I was beating myself up for 5 hours. Now I have a choice to create a new experience. What do I want to create now? This is, I use this as a power of language, or the reminder of power of language and power of creation. But basically, what do I want to create now, given the fact that I understood that I slipped? I understand that life happens. What do I want to create now? But what if it was for 5 days? It doesn't matter. This allows me to shift whatever now. 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 It doesn't matter whether it was 5 years of self-judgment or 5 minutes. And the more I practice this, awareness, kindness, and creation, the easier it is. It's getting shorter. for the first time when I start playing with this, it might be okay. So today I'm just self-judgmental. The fact that I'm kind to myself, at least I'm not piling on judgment. And next day we will see, let's sleep on it. The more I practice, it's like muscle. I'm able to catch myself. Okay, so this hour I was beating myself up after the meeting with my boss. So that's okay. It happens. What do I want to create now? And eventually, what is open, it's not a mandatory, but what happens is the moment I catch myself, I see the innocence. And I create the possibility of choosing the new thing. But the point is to really just remember this is absolutely neutral. Whenever I am aware of the thing that I want to change and I see the innocence of it, I do not see it as a proof that I'm a broken human being that always does this and I blah 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 blah, blah whatever the story. You can extrapolate this story. I can then consciously create whatever is the next in my plate. Steve Hardison has a beautiful question. Okay, given the circumstances, what do you want to create? It's not fighting the circumstances, it's just, okay, it happened. I spilled the milk. What do I want to create? Did I answer the question?
Yes, yes, you absolutely answered the question, and I love the way that you broke that down because I think that's something that if somebody notices that they're off path or they notice something that they're wanting to um, change, to follow those steps that you're talking about. I almost picture, someone having a. I know this has happened to me. I choose something on the GPS and I'm driving and I realize, maybe I hit the wrong location and I'm, going somewhere else. That it's not that we need to beat ourselves up or whatever it is. It's innocent as you're talking about, and I get to choose, right? What would I like to create next? Um, and I'm mindful of our time, and so I think this is wonderful because I love how we opened up right with the generating conversations, and it quickly shifted into the embodiment and how that relates to conversations, the people in our life, the work that we're doing on ourselves, and when we notice that we're off path, this process that you shared, which I know is only a piece of the document process, what would you like to, for anyone listening, what would you like to leave them with here today, or what would you like to let them know? They've listened, or they came in with the context of generating conversations, creating clients, and um, what we've covered is specifically tied to it. What would you like to leave them with? What would you like them to know?
What I would like them to know is to discuss the power of language a bit deeper. Because again, this is both the most powerful, beautiful power or might in the universe, and it might be the most destructive one. The misunderstanding that is usually stopping us from having the life that we know we can have is that we innocently believe that through language we're just neutrally describing how the life is. This is unfair, or this will never gonna work, or women or men hate me and I'm never gonna find a partner. Whatever phrase I use or phrases I use to describe the reality, it seems I'm just describing what is there, what is out there. What I want to leave you with is, what if me describing the reality just creates more of what I describe? If I see, or if I describe for myself, this is gonna be hard, I'm programming my subconscious to give me proofs of the statement, the filter through which I see the reality. This is gonna be hard. So what I'm unconsciously picking up are proofs of how this is gonna be difficult. There is a beautiful experiment for people who go into gym, and some of you might know it, some of you might not, but our bodies also listen to the language, and they do not know the difference between what we think and what is there. Do a following experiment. Pick a exercise where you do 4 series. Series number 1, series number 2, series number 3, series number 4. First and second, do it normally. I do the series, whatever. Let's say it's bench press, 10, 9. Then on series number 3, tell yourself with the biggest conviction that you can, this is gonna be hard, I'm tired, I cannot do this. And just observe whatever happens. And then on series number 4, do a completely different thing. I'm gonna nail it, this is easy, this is lightweight. And observe. What I'm describing to is an exercise that Ankush did with me in Wellingborough in the gym. And on the first series, we did the bench press. I did 10. On second, I did 9. That's normal. I'm getting tired. On the third, it was hard. I barely did 6. It's still normal. Hello. And I went to failure. I couldn't do more. But this is normal, it's third series. And then on series number 4, I said, this is going to be lightweight. I did 8. I really did 8. And it was not like I was doing longer pauses or something. No, it was tuk. If I am describing my life as hard, I'm creating more of that. If I start describing my partner, my spouse, as a bitch or whatever, I create more of that. So be open to the fact that your life might be lived with ease. I had a beautiful experience of creating an event with ease. This April, a friend of mine whom I met at the Powerful Men's Immersion said, Igor, let's create Being Immersion in Sweden. And let's create it in summer. It was less than 4 months. I am part of the Powerful Men's Immersion of Ankush, but I never created it on my own, from scratch. And Henrik, the friend of mine, he said, Igor, we're going to create this with ease. I was like, and whenever there was a challenge, life happens. It's not like everything disappears. But whenever challenge happened, either I reminded him or he reminded me, Igor, let's create with ease. The experience that we had, despite all the challenges, and there were numerous, was we created the event with ease and passion. It was the most beautiful experience. And we were able, in less than 4 months, fill out the event and create a life transformation for 7 men. And the ticket was like 1,500 euros, which is not an insignificant amount. And we sold it. We created documents, and we had a incredible, incredible experience at the Bredho town in heart of Sweden. How? We consciously created it with ease. And this is a power that is available to us.
Wow. This is beautiful, and thank you for, wow, that I love that story, and I love how descriptively you shared the power of language, because really, because like you said, a lot of times people feel right because they're describing, what they are experiencing, and the question of, well, do you want to create more of that, or do you want to create something different? It could be very justified, and what's going to be the most useful. Um, thank you, Igor, for making time today to share this. If somebody wanted to reach out to you about what you do, or finding out more about the conscious creation of the document, or yeah, just if they have a question for you, what's the best way for them to find you?
The best way for them to find me is via my mobile phone and WhatsApp. That's the best way. You can find me on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Please message me and bear with me. I'm not going there as often. In case you want to reach out to me directly, my mobile phone is for sure on Facebook. We can include it in the description of the video. WhatsApp.
Excellent. Perfect. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, my website is jmwhiteman.com, or you can find me on Facebook, and you're welcome to message me there. And thank you, Igor. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And if you have any questions or you have insights that come through, let us know, because we want to know that what we're doing is making a difference here, and we want to hear your journey as well. So thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, Igor. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.